14th, 2014 Village of Peoria Heights Board of Trustees meeting. Meeting is now called to order. Would you please rise and join us in the pledge of the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our village clerk, Shauna Musselman, could not be here tonight, so I need a motion from the board to temporarily appoint Administrator Fick to handle the minutes tonight.
So moved.
Motion from Trustee Cumming.
Second.
Second from Trustee Gett. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Have it, Mr. Administrator, you lucky dog. You are now the taker of the minutes tonight. Second from Trustee Cumming. All those in favor of approving the Board of Trustees minutes for the November 4th meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Thank you. The ayes have it. Board has approved the Board of Trustees minutes for the regular meeting on November 4th. Next up is the approval of the special meeting minutes for November 4th as well. Are there any changes that need to be made to the minutes as submitted?
I move to approve the special meeting minutes for November 4th.
We have a motion from Trustee Reichert.
Second.
Second from Trustee Carter. All those in favor of approving the special meeting minutes for the November 4th meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Thank you. The ayes have it. Board has approved the special meeting minutes for the November 4th meeting as submitted. Mr. Administrator, any correspondence that you're aware of?
No correspondence this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. No announcements I can think of right now, so we'll go to trustee reports, and first up will be the ambulance service with Trustee Fuller.
Thank you, Mayor Ellen. I have nothing to report this evening.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to Public Works with Trustee Harn.
Thank you, Mayor Ellen. I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Go now to Administration Personnel with Trustee Reichert.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing this evening.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to Economic Development, Village Improvements, Trustee Carter.
Thank you. I have a couple just announcements to remind people. On November 29th is Small Business Day, so go out and support the small businesses around your town, ours especially. December 1st, the shops are going to have a Cider Monday instead of a Cyber Monday, so certain shops go in and have a drink, cider drink. December 5th is a Christmas walk. The tree
All I can say, so please, if you do have any issues though, in all seriousness, come up and let us know about them and we'll look into them and get them rectified for you. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any questions at all for Trustee Cumming? Thanks again. We'll move to Building Maintenance with Trustee Gett.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I have nothing to report at this time.
All right, thank you. And then we'll close out with the Fire Department with Trustee Gett. Second verse? Okay,
yeah.
Sims the first. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Moving down to comments from the audience. Anybody has any questions, care, concern, please come up to the village lectern, and if you would, give us your name and address and let us know what's on your mind. No takers?
Don't rush.
Come on, Mike. Anything? Okay, well, we do thank everyone for attending. We'll go to no old business tonight, so we'll go immediately to new business. And first up is just to bring to the board, we've been speaking of a proposed TIF down on War Memorial Drive where the development is going on. We're trying to entice additional strong development, and we're considering having a TIF created for that area down there, and also to possibly extend the existing TIF at the Pabst Lisey TIF that is over there with the old Cohen's building and the empty properties and a couple other properties around there, but to extend it across Prospect into the development possibilities over on the other side of Prospect, but keep it contained. So what I'm wanting the board to consider is just giving direction to all involved that if we're going to pursue any TIFs, that we want to keep it small in those areas that require or we're hoping for redevelopment at this time, not to TIF existing strong buildings if at all possible. Mr. Heath is here, Superintendent of Peoria Heights District 325. Mr. Heath, did you want to give any information from your end, if you wanted to come up to the microphone, if you don't mind?
Eric Heath, my address?
No.
Do I
That's
need it?
okay. We know where to find you.
Pekin, Illinois, unfortunately. Mayor Allen and I have met, and we had some of the very same thoughts about keeping the TIF to the existing TIF that we have and maybe expanding that and doing some things for some businesses on those properties. And we kind of talked about, when we had our meeting, about some super TIF ideas. And from the district's position, I think it's a pretty bad idea to get too crazy with the TIF. You don't want a TIF too large of an area, and I think it's a really great idea along that War Drive, really develop that underdeveloped areas. But as a position from the district, we would be not really for any sort of that large super TIF that we talked about, but really in favor of the expanding that TIF and getting something done with those buildings across Prospect and really getting something going down there on War Drive. So really was here tonight just to support Mayor and some of his ideas, and we talked, and so I think we're really on the same page there. So that was just giving you guys our 2 cents on behalf of the district. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Heath. Appreciate you coming out tonight. So I want to read what I have on here. It's kind of a nebulous thing because we want to have some opportunity to include a few things and maybe not include some things, but basically it is, we want to, number one, consider the extension of the existing Lisey Pabst TIF east across Prospect Avenue to promote redevelopment opportunities of underutilized properties. And number two, establishment of a new TIF on the south side of War Memorial from Wisconsin to the east up to but not including the existing Proctor First Care, and on the north side of War Memorial from Boulevard Avenue to the east, covering only those properties that demonstrate the need for TIF assistance. This concept establishes 2 distinct TIF districts in only those areas that are in direct need of such economic development incentives. I think that what I want the board to consider is that we would just want to pursue the spirit of a TIF is to take those areas that have not been developed or are in need of perhaps some upgrade or clear upgrade or clear redevelopment of one kind or another, because a TIF is designed to promote and develop those areas that without the TIF have shown no way of it happening anyway. So to me, the whole concept of going crazy with a TIF and TIFing things that have already been developed, I think it's just a wrong concept for the board to consider at this time. So I want to provide direction from the board standpoint, and the best way to do that is to have the board backing a concept. So I've asked for the board to please make a motion to approve the proposed TIF boundaries as submitted.
I so move.
So we would discuss these boundaries, the exact boundaries later, is that correct?
Right, I think this would be...
This is just a concept.
This would be used as a guideline, in essence, to avoid and to not even consider TIFing a property that is fully developed, fully drawn out to where, it's going to increase in value over the years. So there are things here and there that's going to have to be considered, because there might be a more of a developed property that we have to include because it's in the way of getting to that spot that's undeveloped. But the main part is to avoid getting those long stretches where things have already been developed.
Right, I'll second that motion.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion from trustee Gett and a second from trustee Reichert. Are there any questions or comments from the board before the board votes?
I would just like to say, and I know Matt and I have talked about this a little bit, but I really would, with the extension of the existing PAPS TIF that we have in place, really take a look at Heritage Square to see if that is one huge parcel or if the land that is slated, that is now just a gravel parking lot for Phase 2 of Heritage Square, if that's a separate parcel, if we could somehow include that as well to help spur on some development. But I know it depends on how that parcel is actually subdivided out, or if it even is, but I think we should explore that, too.
Yeah, it all comes down to fine tuning. That's when we need to have the schools and also any other taxing bodies who would be interested in the talks regarding that. But again, the main thing is to say we are interested in extending the existing one only to those areas that need to be redeveloped, and to create the one on War Memorial to include hopefully only those areas that need to be redeveloped. And like I said, there might be a building or two that gets involved in that that's already been developed, but it's hard to hopscotch over something. But we want to try and keep it condensed to those areas that show the need for redevelopment. Any other questions from the board? Okay, once again, this is for the board to approve the proposed TIF boundaries as read. Mr. Administrator, would you please call roll?
Trustee Harn?
Aye.
Trustee Carter?
Aye.
Trustee Fuller?
Aye.
Trustee Reichert?
Aye.
Trustee Gett?
Aye.
Trustee Cummings?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. By a vote of 6-0, the board has approved the proposed TIF boundaries as read. And again, thank you, Mr. Heath, for coming by and giving us the school's perspective on this important matter. Next up for new business is a Small Business Saturday proclamation. Should I read this whole thing, I guess? Yeah. I'll tell you what, we're going to have this posted here at Village Hall. And basically, it is a proclamation where we are recognizing and thanking all those small businesses, particularly in Peoria Heights, where we really are dependent upon the small business. They are our bread and butter, so to speak. So, in essence, what we're going to do is just make a proclamation thanking them and trying to direct people to please shop all the small businesses coming up, make a point of it. So I need a motion to approve the proclamation for Small Business Saturday.
So moved.
Motion from trustee Cumming,
Second.
second from trustee Carter. Any questions or comments from the board before the board votes? Okay, once again, this is for the board approval of the proclamation for Small Business Saturday. Mr. Administrator, would you please call roll?
Trustee Harn?
Aye.
Trustee Carter?
Aye.
Trustee Fuller?
Aye.
Trustee Reichert?
Aye.
Trustee Gett?
Aye.
Trustee Cummings?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. By a vote of 6-0, the board has approved the Village of Peoria Heights proclamation for Small Business Saturday. And again, we will post a copy here at Village Hall and probably put one online, too. Next up is a treasurer's report, and Mr. Administrator, would you do us the service of reading it?
Mr. Mayor, this is the Treasury Report for October 2014, submitted by Cliff Brumbaugh, Village Treasurer. In the village accounts, the general fund, the balance is $667,472.29. Motor fuel account, $165,908.40. Police drug savings account, $554.23. Tax increment finance account, $55,336.90. Health care flex account, $1,813.62, for a grand total in the village account of $891,085.44. In the waterworks and service deposit accounts, the waterworks has a total of $630,578.53. Infrastructure maintenance fee, $25,150.94, and service deposits are at $85,933.81 for a grand total in the waterworks accounts of $741,663.28.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments regarding the treasurer's report? Okay, then we will accept it as read. Next, we'll be asking the board to retire into executive session regarding personnel. We will be adjourning at that time, and we would come back after the executive session. You're more than welcome to stay through that, but at the end of it, if we're over with that, we'll be doing a final adjournment of the meeting. But before we do that, next departmental committee meeting will be held Tuesday, November 25th, 6:30 PM, and the next Board of Trustees meeting will be held Tuesday, December 2nd, 6:30 PM. At this time, I'm asking the board for a motion to retire into executive session regarding personnel.
Move to retire to executive session.
Have a motion from trustee Gett. Second from trustee Harn. All those in favor of the board going into executive session at this time regarding personnel, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. Thank you, the ayes have it. Board will now go into executive session. We'll return after the session is over with, and we thank everyone for attending.